and you don't stop, you proceed, 'cause this is what you need.
We've all been there. We all watch something on the box and think, could have written that. Well, if that's you, then maybe this course is for you. My name is James Doherty. I started writing for TV when I was just 21 on a TV show called Brookside on Channel 4, before going on to write for a number of TV shows across the UK. If you've always had ideas running through your head, or some incredible characters just waiting to find their voice, then perhaps it's time you did something with that. Last year, platforms and broadcasters like Netflix, Amazon, Sky and the BBC invested billions in new content. There's never been a better time to be a writer for screens of all sizes. My introduction to TV script writing course will give you the skills and confidence to move your ideas to script, and then, hopefully, to screen. If this short course feels like it's for you, then join up and let's work together to bring your ideas to life. When you're thinking about starting your script writing journey, the first question you should be asking is, what is your story? What is it that makes a good story? Well, we all know that there's a few good films out there that we've seen in the past which make for a good log line. A log line or a tagline is a way of summing up a story, just a few words. And we've got a few examples here. Psycho, the tagline is check in, unpack, relax, take a shower. I think Hitchcock always knew how to sum up his films with a clever piece of mastery. One of my favourites, Jaws 2, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. Well, we all know the kind of fear and excitement that's given us. We all knew that Jaws 1 was about folk trying to survive a man-eating shark. So just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, it's back. Platoon, I don't know if you've seen Platoon, but it's one of those films which is an everyman story, a coming of age story. And the tagline here is the first casualty of war is innocence. And that resonates with us because it hits us on an emotional level and sees us thinking about what it would be like to be 16, 17, being packed off from home, transported to a world that we don't know, and then forced to face the fear and the conflict that comes in terrible tragedy and war. The first casualty of war is innocence. And then one we all know, Alien. I bet you can guess the tagline here. In space, no one can hear you scream. Again, it's about bringing those raw emotions to the surface. What is it about this film that's going to make us frightened? Well, technically, physically, in the vacuum of space, there is no sound. So that's something for the nerds and the geeks is quite fine. But when you feel that sense of aloneness with another monster coming to get you, always on the attack, and then you can feel that in space no one can hear you scream, and the sense that you're going to get from that film. So you should be thinking about what is it in your film, what is it in your script that makes it different, what is it in your world that you're trying to create that makes it function, that gives you drama. Drama literally means to act, and that is something you should be trying to achieve in every story. It has to be going somewhere. There has to be a purpose for it. There has to be an emotional connection to an audience. You have to always ask yourself, why would an audience want to see this? What interest does it hold for them? Why is it something that they have to invest their time in? Because what's crucially important when you're writing is that you think about your audience each and every time. They're going to invest their time in something that you've written. It has to be good. If they're going to invest money in it, in terms of actually paying to go and see something, whether it's a stage play, or whether it's a film, or indeed whether it's TV and they're just paying for it through the adverts on the other side or through the license fee. You've got to ask yourself, what is it that's so compelling about my story that makes it something that audiences want to see? If you can start to get that nugget of an idea, then you're onto something really good. Once you have your idea together, you need to be thinking about where it will be shown. So, is this going to be just a 1 hour play in your local theatre? Or maybe it's going to be a radio drama in the afternoon on Radio 4? Or are you thinking about a big 10-part, 12-part series on BBC One in prime time? Or something that might go on BBC Two or Channel 4? Or Netflix, Amazon, sky. You have to think where your story might fit, where your characters might work best. You're not going to have a horror on daytime BBC, but you might have a nice, slight, jovial tale about people in Mallorca fighting crime, as currently is on. So think about it. Think about where your story will work best. And then we can think about the form and the format and make it come alive. I'm a firm believer that all great stories have a beginning, a middle and an end. Now a lot of writers have a beginning and sometimes they have an ending, but it's the middle part that can be really tricky. In our course, I'll help you to understand how you bring your beginnings, middle and ends together. We go from A to C through what we call the muddle B and help you to find a way to do that, mapping out key scenes, understanding where parts of the story go and making sure that your story arcs have peaks and troughs that take your audience on a journey with you. Because if you can do that, then you know you have a good, strong script that will work. And that's the most important thing. When it comes to creating great stories, characters are what sets it apart. They're the focal point of your story. We might remember fantastic films from the past, fantastic TV series, but what we really remember is the great characters that were created from them. So what makes a great character? What is it that makes them so memorable to us? Well, it doesn't matter if they are a comedic hero, if they're an action hero, or if they're just one of your favourite characters in your favourite soap opera. They all mean something to us because they all have an emotional connection. And that's what you should be aiming for when you're writing strong characters. Characters who really jump off the page, who are not one line or one tone, but are nuanced and have deep individual personalities and flaws and strengths and all of the things that make them larger than life. Because the one thing you want your story to be is larger than life. If you were writing an episode of Casualty and it was supposed to be true to life, then 95% of that episode would be about someone filling in paperwork. That's not what we're interested in. We're interested in strong characters who are going to drive a story to its conclusion. In our course, we'll help you to understand what it is that makes a character move and tick. What is it about them that makes them so flawed, or so generous, or so moral, or so wrong, as some characters can be? And what is it about us as an audience that makes us want to engage with them? When we can do that, we can have characters who can drive a story forward, who can take us on a journey that we want to go on and be entertained with. And that's something you as a writer have to think about. One of the things that I talk about is how you create your own character Bible. So your character, it might be a middle-aged woman. Does she read a newspaper still? Which newspaper is it? Is it The Sun? Is it The Guardian? What does that say about the character? Do they drive a car? What kind of car is it? What does that say about your character? Do they have kids? Are the kids causing them issues? Are those problems something which is driving a wedge between her and her husband? Is she married? You have to think about all of these questions for each of your characters and then put them together. Create a clash, create a conflict, whether that be comedy, whether it be drama. Always moving your characters to some place where they're going to come together in an explosion of comedy, horror, drama, whatever it may be. But they have to be wonderful, well-rounded characters to make that happen. That's your job, and with our course, we can help you to do that. As part of the Introduction to Script Writing course, we'll talk you through how to create a scene, how to make a scene just like your story, something that drives forward and takes the audience somewhere. You don't want scenes that are just placeholders, that just kind of move the action along but don't really do too much. I'll help you to understand how to make a scene have its own beginning, middle and end, and take the characters forward to a new destination. That's what's critical. You can't have anyone who's investing their time, their emotion, their effort, and sometimes their money in your writing to be bored or to see a scene which doesn't really fit or work too well. So, as part of that, you have to keep thinking about what it is that drives these characters forward, what it is that creates that clash, and making sure that every single scene sings One of the biggest mistakes that I find with people who want to be scriptwriters is they think it's all just about the dialogue. But actually the dialogue should be, for me, the icing on the cake. When you put all of the jigsaw together, all of the other component parts, you understand your characters, you understand your plot, you understand the journey you're going to take from beginning through to the middle and up to the end. Then you can start thinking about the dialogue. By that point, hopefully, you'll understand the voice of your characters. You'll understand the way they would react to any situation they're put into. You'll understand what they'll say and much, much more importantly, what they won't say when they're speaking. The critical thing to remember about dialogue is it's not grammatically correct. We don't all talk in a way which is expositional, or as we say, on the nose, where you're explaining everything in detail, very verbose and grand statements. Sometimes the most effective dialogue can be unsaid. It's those little looks, remembering that we're working primarily in a visual medium. So remember, when you're writing great dialogue, does it sound like your character? Does it sound like they would react like this in this world? If it does, then you're on to a winner. If it's not, then you have to think again. Take yourself back, get back into your character's head and see what it is they would really see in this situation. So as part of this course, we'll work on understanding what makes for great dialogue, how you can build that into a scene, and then complete, hopefully, your character's journey and take the story from beginning through to middle and end. So, I hope you want to come and join us in one of our courses, but if you want to maybe crack out on your own, give it a try, here's my top 10. Number 1, finish your script. People sometimes spend an absolute age worrying and procrastinating over what it is they're writing, but it's always a good idea to start something and then finish it. And you know, it may not be the best ever, but once you get to the end and feel that you've completed something, then you can go back and have a look at it again. Number 2, read along as you watch. There are resources out there where you can get scripts, download, print them, and then watch on BBC iPlayer or Netflix or whatever, and actually see how a script is written and how it then transfers onto screen. It's one of the best ways for you to learn about the art of script writing. And another aside to that, put the subtitles on your telly, even if you're not hard of hearing. It's really good to be able to see the text coming up, see how characters speak and how stories move along. Number 3, are you worried about where to get ideas from? Well, don't be. Ideas can come from anywhere. Have a look out onto the street. Just take a random passerby and think to yourself, what's going on in their life? If you see someone in a cherry picker changing a light bulb in the street, what's happening in their life? Why are they out on a shift on Saturday? Are there problems at home? Does he have a disabled son or daughter? Is that causing him upset and grief? You can always think of ideas, and just look to the world around us. Your local newspaper, trust me, will have so many different ideas that you could have a look at and think there's drama, there's comedy, there's real purpose in a story there. So always, don't ever think that you can't come up with an idea. Ideas are there and they're yours. Number 4, make your character want something. There's nothing worse than having a character that doesn't really know what they're going for. Like all of us, we hope there's a destination we're trying to get to. And if you want a character to evolve and do something, they should be trying to get somewhere. Whether it's a Christmas tale and it's a character trying to get home to his family for Christmas, or whether it's 2 lovebirds who can't quite get it together, you can create these characters who want something, and it's that desire that usually drives them. Number 5, show, don't tell. Remember, this is a visual medium. You're not writing a novel. You're not writing something that has to be absolutely on the nose. Dialogue should be crisp and clean and natural and sound authentic. And sometimes it's much more about what's unsaid. It might be a look, it might be a wink, or it could be not reacting in a certain situation in a certain way that you as an audience might expect. So remember, when it comes to a visual format like this, show, don't tell. Number 6, write to your strengths. If you're a funny guy or a funny gal, then be funny in the way that you write your scripts. It always makes such a difference when someone can write about something that they know. And if you've got all of that, then expose it, put it on paper, put it on scripts. It'll make a huge difference. Number 7, when you're starting out, write about what you know, write about your strengths. You understand what it's like to inhabit your world. You have the memories that bring that to life. And you have the passion about whatever your interest is. Is there a big drama to be had out of taking dogs out and showing them in competitions? I'm sure there is. Is there a big drama to be had out of working for a newspaper? Absolutely there is. Some of the best that have been out there. You can make your life and your experience come to life by writing about what you know. Number 8, make sure your characters are rounded. Make them nuanced, make them something that isn't just one tone. There's nothing worse than just having an action hero who's all about the action and shooting people. But if we make them something a bit more nuanced, a bit more vulnerable, a bit more human, then we can all relate to that. And that's something that should always happen with your characters. Make them larger than life, but at the same time, make them relatable in some way, shape or form. Even the worst baddies sometimes have some redeemable features that make us hope that they might find a better way. Number 9, allow yourself to make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with writing something and then thinking, this doesn't work. Throw it away, start again, chop it, change it. The best writing is rewriting. And that's one thing that we'll teach you in this course, is how to look at your work, get a critical eye on it, and then see if it's working or not. And one of the best things to understand about particularly television script writing is it's a collaborative effort. While you might be at your desk alone, putting your baby together, when you're ready to hand it to others to have a look, they will contribute and they will make your idea even stronger. And my final tip, less is more. Really go into a scene and go into the action. Don't be starting with knocking on the door, hello, how are you, come in, would you like a cup of tea? That's not where the action is. That's not going to hold your audience. Make sure you come in late and go out early, wanting your audience to keep wishing what else is coming, what's coming down the line, keeping their attention, keeping them watching, because that will make a huge difference. So if you think you've got a boring part here, cut it. If you think you've got a more interesting part there, that's where you start, that's where you go in, and do that throughout your story journey, and your characters and your pace will all be so much stronger. I hope you enjoyed that wee taster of what's in the full course. We have online courses which work over a couple of 3-hour sessions, often at the weekend and in the evenings. We also offer in-person courses which last for a day. There's usually no more than 10 to 12 people on each course to ensure you get the very best out of your time and can contribute and ask questions at every point. I think learning should be creative, supportive and fun, and you can see some of the feedback I've had from those who have taken part in sessions before. So if you want to know more, then please do sign up, follow or leave a message and we'll get back to you.